Hello everyone, in this video I'll be ranking the top 5 best shields in Borderlands 4, updated for Ultimate Vault Hunter 7. It's been 8 months since I did a video like this, and a lot has changed with the addition of many new shields, and just the overall power scaling in this game has changed. So I'll be breaking down the top 5 here, starting with some honorable mentions, and one nice thing about this is the top 5 list requires you to have none of the DLC. All of them are part of the base game, and there was actually a free shield that was added with Subjugator and Thole the Invincible, giving us the highest possible shield with a double tortoise roll of the collector here, getting 356,000. And even crazier, this actually gives you health regeneration too. So very powerful shield, but I'm going to first start with some honorable mentions. First honorable mention is the protean cell. This actually made my list last time. It's very powerful because bonus damage is really good. However, with the higher damage enemies in Ultimate Vault Hunter 6 and 7, this makes it very hard for you to survive. So what happens is when you ground slam, you get plus 40% bonus shock damage, and damage taken passes through the shield. This does make you quite weak, and the damage boost was nice until we had this crazy new scaling. So that's gonna be the first honorable mention. Also want to mention the heavyweight here. On melee hit, it consumes an armor segment to grant 100% extra melee damage, and when your shields are gone, it gives a plus 50% melee damage. There's no real great berserker style builds in the game, and for the most part, melee kind of requires you to use the mantra here to get the most effectiveness out of it, but this is a fun one. And another shield that made my list last time is the Timekeepers new shield. This gives you a bunch of extra health regeneration, and reduces the damage taken by 33%. However, just the scaling in this game, this shield has kind of fallen off. It's useful on certain builds like a Bloodshot Vex, which takes your health into consideration, but at the end of the day, there's just so many better shields out there now. Also going to give an honorable mention to the Sparky shield. When your energy shield is not full, it'll periodically shock nearby enemies. This is pretty insane. I did post a build where Rafa can actually one-shot with his melee build, and this is a requirement for that, but it is pretty good in specific setups, but it's not like a general purpose shield. And last honorable mention is the Onion. This was another shield that made my list last time. It's good. It does have a low capacity. You can see our level 60, it got 22k. Obviously, this is not a perfect roll of it, but it has a shallot shield, which whenever an armor segment breaks, and this has multiple armor segments, it makes you immune to damage for 2 seconds. This is good on specific builds, but damage to yourself does bypass this, so this can be fun on certain builds, but it's fallen off a bit in terms of its effectiveness. Now getting into our top 5. So Mambo number 5 here, we got the cindershelly. This is a really useful shield defensively. It's best utilized on Vex because when damaged, it'll give you a stack of resolve, which reduces damage taken by 2% per stack up to 25 stacks for 50% damage reduction. That's pretty crazy on a shield. However, this only lasts while you have the shield. The capacity can range in a variety of different roles here, so depending on what you got, it can come with a lot of different shield rolls as well. My favorites are Siphon, and you can even get like a turtle roll here to increase this even further. I like the Amp though. Amp Siphon is typically going to be the best roll for the cindershelly. It has a fast recovery speed, like 2.3 or 2.9 seconds, around 3 seconds on most of these here. But whenever you do break the shield, it releases a Nova that does 17k damage, and every stack of resolve that you got gives an additional 25% damage. So doing some quick maths here, that gives you 110,018 damage. So honestly, pretty solid for that explosion, but this shield does talk to you. Some people like it, some people hate it. It's a good defensive shield, and anyone that has a way to regenerate their shields will really enjoy using this because you can get a pretty crazy damage reduction. And every Vault Hunter ends up having a way to get like overshield and things like that to help protect their shield. For example, Cash got his new Turn of Fate, Harlow's got it, Vex has a lot of it, Rafa has a tiny bit of it, and Amon has actually a pretty considerable amount with his using Ordnance. And to farm yourself one as well, it's part of the standard shield pool, but it also comes from the back hive here, so that is just right there on the map. Previously, this was known as like the defensive queen of shields. It is really nice, and I think the talking is pretty funny in general, but it has fallen off a little bit here in terms of its effectiveness just due to how crazy the damage scaling in this game has gotten, especially if you're looking at higher difficulty modes. This can still be a very good shield, and if you get one, especially since it can come with some great rolls on it, it's one that you'd want to use, but there is another shield on this list that does make it a little bit invalidated in a certain sense. I had this actually as one of my top shields previously. I really enjoyed this one, and I think it is still a very considerable pick, and that's why we have it as Mambo number 5 here. But yeah, the fall off is real, and Ultimate Vault Hunter 7 has definitely changed things, but it's still a pretty decent shield as long as you're able to keep the shield up, because the moment that it breaks, you then end up having that big explosion around your character, dealing a decent bit of damage, but again, the damage comparable to things like Subjugator and Thole here, it doesn't keep up. There we go, we broke the shield. I think it killed something around me. It's pretty solid. And again, if you have Vex with the Teen Witch class mod, that'd be your best use case for the cindershelly. And our fourth place shield here is Fireworkes. Now this shield is amazing for mobbing, not something you typically want to bring to bossing, because when you get a kill, it'll spawn missiles that home in on enemies, and they deal that 17,603 damage, similar to the cindershelly's amount of damage that they can deal, but it spawns multiple different missiles. And it's always going to come with a missile swarm roll on it. So you can see here, we have multiple of them having the missile swarm. When you break an armor segment, it launches 3 missiles that deal 3,000 damage each. So that's not really that much, but the best use case for this is, again, mobbing. It will deal damage in whatever type that you see. Like this one, I just have shock and a kinetic one here. But if you have something that's corrosive resistance, it's going to shoot off corrosive rockets. It is a very nice one just for mobbing. It's available from Splash Zone, so if you're farming for pearlescent weapons, this is the best place to do that. You probably have a more billion of these shields if you've been doing that. It is also an armor shield, which means that when you're using it, you're going to have to pay attention a little bit to its regeneration, because if you're getting damage, it will take a little bit longer to get your armor back up again, because it has that armor value there. So you have 3 segments on this shield here, and it'll slowly charge them up. You can see the charge above it there. So it's good at mobbing. Really, that's the end use case for it. So if you're going around mobbing, you use this. It's going to shoot off some rockets here whenever you get some kills, and that is obviously quite nice for dealing with the mobs. You can see there the rockets are flying out, and we got those rocks to take out them. And then yeah, it's useful because sometimes you can get really lucky with these, and then the rockets just delete everything for you. So if you're doing a bunch of mobbing and you just want to make things a lot simpler, you know, maybe you want to use the stray sniper rifle and not have to think too much. Use the stray, it'll automatically be killing things. This will automatically hunt down everything. And yeah, Bob's your uncle. It is super useful for mobbing only. Again, I would not bring this to a boss encounter. Maybe the new takedowns that release at the end of the month will be good for this, because you'll be facing off against more mobs, so being able to take them down like that is pretty effective. But yeah, you see it there, those rockets fly off, take out the enemies. It deals with a lot of the stuff for you. So yeah, that is quite nice. Boom. And it's really good because sometimes it is hard to hit some of the flying enemies that you see here. So having a shield that can just take care of all of that for you is really nice. Be mindful of elemental eaters. They did rework how elemental eaters work, but yeah, you see it there. Pretty effective at what it does. I should also quickly mention a couple other honorable mentions that are okay, if some people like them. The Guardian Angel, which you get from RJ, that gives you a free fight for your life every 300 seconds, which can be useful. And also the Honey Badger from the Vault of the Damned, the DLC, that makes you take 90% less self-damage, which certain builds can use, but I still find I go down either way. And third place, we have the Collector. Not to be confused with the Marvel villain. This is pretty insane. Now, it can come with a lot of different roles. Most of them are going to have a good amount of shield to them. This one has 356. If you get the triple, or I guess it is triple turtle roll, they can have 2 different rolls. If both of them are turtle, this is where you get that 356 version. This is really annoying to farm because it's from Subjugator. So yeah, lovely. It also has a very long recharge time, this one with 9.3 seconds. It's also an order shield, so it does look very much like the cindershelly here, but giving yourself that 7,000 health per second regen is pretty nice. But it's the large shield capacity. Where this really does shine is on builds like Cash here, which if you go with Gloam to Glow with the increased max overshield, basically you don't want your shield to get drained, so you'd be using that plus Turn of Fate to make sure that your shields are at max at all times, so you get over shield so you can do a crazy amount of damage with Gloam to Glow. That's the best use case for this setup, but it's good on every Vault Hunter because who wouldn't use that much shield? With my particular setup right now, I have 409,935 shield. That's pretty crazy. It is even better on characters like Amon, who has even further amounts of shield. So yeah, using this shield, you can actually do a lot of good with it just because you're going to be able to withstand a lot of attacks here. So you can see my shield there as I'm generating overshield. Not too much of a worry because yeah, it's just taking care of everything. So this shield is pretty insane in terms of the overall defensive purposes. The next 2 shields are going to be more offensive focused because who needs a shield when you can just clear the map really quickly? But for what it is a very solid shield. I think it's a fun one to use as well, just because I like big numbers, makes caveman brain happy. So for that regard, it's pretty good, but it does have some downsides of not having like a great offensive focus to it. Obviously a shield is not meant to be offensive, but if you play Borderlands 4, you'll know that the B is such a good shield shield because of the offensive prowess that it brings. And yeah, kind of same thing is here. The best status condition you can apply to an enemy is the dead condition. So you don't need a shield if you can do a lot of damage, but if you want to be defensive and use a shield as a shield, this would be the way to do it. It's got the highest possible damage roll. Previously, I believe it was a purple shield. I think there's a couple others that were really high, but yeah, this thing makes you a defensive powerhouse, and for that, it is our third place shield. And in second place, keeping up with the Marvel theming, we got the Super Soldier here. Now, this is a really good one. When your energy shield fills, grant overshield. And then when your energy shield is full, it gives you 25% fire rate, 25% movement speed, and regens 1 ammo per second. This did get a nerf because previously it used to work with heavy ordnances, which you can imagine how good that is. No longer the case, but it's still a very good shield because it has a decently high capacity to it depending on the rolls that you got. A short cooldown around 3.1 seconds there in the rolls that I have. But 25% increased fire rate is amazing because there's only so many ways you can increase your fire rate, and with the prevalence of infinite ammo in this game, pretty much every character has a way of getting infinite ammo, so this can make them, you know, pretty strong. And movement speed is also, by definition, a way to keep yourself alive, because if you can move away from attacks, you're taking less damage in general. But this is like an offensive, defensive, all-in-one powerful shield. I like to get the triple siphon roll in it just to give yourself even further overshield. This is mostly in use case for cash so that you can shoot bullets even quicker. So for example, for the fire rate, I'm just going to use the Gomi with a Ripper part here. You can see the fire rate to it there. And here it is with the increased fire rate. So yeah, you can clear your magazine much quicker here. And again, movement speed is such a luxury in Borderlands, so having that is great. So yeah, with this shield, it's basically just shoot fast, do a lot more damage, and watch the results come in. So on a lot of builds, this would be the best option. The next shield we'll be showing is another offensive shield, but getting that siphon part means that you're going to keep your shields up so you do get that fire rate increase. So yeah, I would like to see like a siphon roll on that just for the maximum effectiveness. It's just really fun to use, especially with Ripper guns. And if you have a crazy fire rate increase build, poor Rafa, the red skill tree used to be the fastest. Still probably is in most cases, but cash is just that much better. And you can see there, my shield broke, my fire rate went down, and you can feel the difference. So yeah. Yeah, I went down, I was talking to the camera, not really focused on fighting with these, but Super Soldier is very powerful for a lot of reasons. Regenning ammo is actually kind of nice too, because certain weapons that got like a slow fire rate or like a lower magazine size can benefit a lot from this. So for example, the Constable shotgun, you can shoot it, get an ammo back, and get an extra shot off. Normally you would only be able to do the 2 shots reload. This gives you 3. So on certain weapons that can be nice, and you can actually time it so that you do get an additional shot depending on the magazine size. So pretty effective at that. It can be useful on specific weapons, especially if you don't have an infinite ammo build. And to get a Super Soldier, you're going to come to the Umbral Foundry here and fight Vile Lictor. Not really the most fun boss, but it's worth the reward. And now here's the moment you've all been waiting for. This is still my #1 shield in the game. It's the best in slot, the Watts for dinner. This is insane. So when your energy shield is active, enemies have an 8% chance to drop an overshield when hit. That just gives you some pretty great survivability. It has a lower shield amount of only 25k, but if you have any way of increasing your overshield, this is good because overshield's based off your character level, not off your shield amount. But the big benefit here is when overshield is also active, grants 25% shock damage. That is insane. It's bonus damage too, so it's taking a lot of our increases to our damage. And it can come with the amp. The best roll for most builds is the triple amp. I like an amp with the double siphon here to give yourself some overshield, to give yourself some extra damage as well from the amp. The best roll will depend on your build, but this one here, as you can see, has a 1.5 second shield delay before it regenerates here, and most of them are around that 1.7 seconds. So depending on the build that you have, this is something that is just so insanely powerful to have. I actually have 2 shields that are very much the same. Triple roll with 150% gun damage for 38% of shields is probably the best. It's great on like Vex, who got overshield steal. Everyone's got ways to get some shields too, so or mostly everyone has got ways to get shields. Vex is the most used out of this, but everyone can benefit from that overshield increase, or the shock damage increase of 25%. It's one of the few ways that Rafa can get bonus damage on his kid. Cash benefits from it as well because he's turning elemental damage into kinetic. It also, I posted a build the other day where with using the shield here, you can one-tap in Ultimate Vault Hunter 7, and this also works against Thol. So see it here again, boom, single shot. That's the Watch for Dinner helping out. And see it again, boom, I missed, oh no, oh no, oh no, oh no, throw another card, boom, 1 shot. I'll have that build linked in the comments, not to explain how it works because it probably get nerfed at a certain point, but bonus damage on characters is insane. So yeah, once you get that overshield going, you do some pretty insane damage here. Now, I'm not really using a super min-max build for the purpose of this because it's about shields, not so much about damage, but this shield is about damage. It gives you a 25% bonus shock damage, which is amazing on a variety of different setups because that's just a huge increase to your overall damage. You are a little squishy with it though. Basically, when you're playing, you want to be moving around a lot so that you can try and find the overshield little bubbles to give yourself some extra damage. It's crazy though, because that Watch for Dinner, it gets added to a lot of different sources of damage. Like if you're using Groundbreaker, it gets extra damage there. Pretty much every build can benefit from the Watch for Dinner. That's why I mentioned it being a best in slot, because typically, if you were to farm one shield, it would be this one. Getting a Siphon plus the extra amp damage is really good on it, so that is something I would recommend doing, or going for the triple amp if you're Vex, or there's actually a few different builds that really do benefit from having that there, but you got to look out for these little treats on the ground to give yourself that extra shield, because otherwise it has a low capacity. But again, in this game, damage trumps all, so we're looking really for as much possible damage as we can get, and this shield really does give it to us. So yeah, I'm not really doing an amazing job here. I'm just using kind of a fun build for the showcase of this, but yeah, that extra damage is extremely nice, and that's why it is our best shield 2 times running. I don't see this shield getting dethroned as the best, and hopefully it does not ever get nerfed, but it has a big downside if you're really squishy with this. Same as the Protean Cell. The Protean Cell is a bit more squishy despite having like double the amount of shield. The Protean Cell has all your damage go through the shield and gives you 40% bonus damage. This is 25, but it does have the effects of giving you overshield drops, and it can have better rolls. And to get yourself one of these, it's from the Arc of Origo, so you gotta fight the Vault boss here, but it is worth the grind. It is super powerful on pretty much every single setup in the game. So yeah, let me know your favorite shield in the comments. Hit the subscribe button below if you enjoyed this video, and we'll catch you all in the next Borderlands 4 video.